Let's go, my homies. Welcome to the Confluence. My name is Leo Koiz, and I'm joined by KTK Krash. How you doing, my homie?
Hey Leo, I am doing great. I am on the road today. I'm actually down in Atlanta, Georgia, which you'd be surprised. It's as cold or colder than is in Denver right now. I'm glad I brought all my warm stuff, but I'm nice and warm here in my hotel room. Got to do a little bit of work tomorrow morning here, and then flying back tomorrow night. So it's a little later than I normally am in the mountain
Yeah.
time, but other than that, I'm good, man.
You're on that East Coast time, baby. Let's
Yep.
go. Well, look, my homies, you might be wondering what you're listening to, and it's the Confluence. It's no longer we're not doing this just on the Mile High Hotspur. We're taking it to another level, and we're doing this on the Confluence, a new place where you can get your Rapids fix, right? A new place for fans to gather to come and chat. And Crash, what do you think of this new little venture that we got going on, my homie? I mean, the off season came around, and we thought, what can we do to kind of to steer this ship in the right direction? And I think this is the right way, my homie. What do you think?
Yeah, man, I agree. I think, we've been talking about it a little bit, between the end of the season and now, and we had so much fun doing it last season, and if anything, if nobody listened, I enjoyed it. But I do enjoy the conversation and just being able to talk rapids each week, and we just had that conversation and said, you know what, let's just try to give it a go. Let's see if anybody else cares to listen. And I think for us, more exposure to the Rapids is a good thing. I think we're always supporting of anybody creating content with the Rapids, which is great. And I love this little community that we have of supporters. And I think the one thing that might just differentiate ourselves from others is that we're really just about really fan centric, right? Just really focused on the fan experience and just kind of what we feel, and engaging with other supporters, and being able to bring other voices on. We're not going to be able to give you all the same insights and analytics and in-depth coverage that you might get from others, but we're going to definitely, from the supporters and fans side of things, we're definitely going to be able to just give our opinions and have a good conversation, which I think is going to be a lot of fun.
Spot on, homie. Bang on the money there. The Confluence, a place where rivers meet, a place where Rapids fans meet, a place where you and I can meet to chat it up. And like you said, man, anybody who else is to willing to hop on the raft and ride the Rapids Confluence stream out, my homie. So
Exactly.
yeah. So apart from when we put this on YouTube, people are going to be able to find this on Instagram. We have an Instagram page, Crash. We're on X as well, Crash. We're doing Apple, uh, what is it?
Apple Podcast
Spotify and
will
Apple
be on
Play.
Spotify podcast. Yeah. So ideally you'll be able to listen to this really wherever you find your podcasts. Bear with us. We are both new to some of this elements. So we're going to try to keep getting it to new places as we can. We're just kind of getting this off the ground. So look for us, engage with us on all the socials. Obviously we'll still be on our own personals and things here and there. But we're just going to try to make this a little more polished and a little more legitimate.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one more time, that's at the Confluence Pod. At the Confluence Pod. Look, my homie, the season ended last season. On a low. I don't know how you felt 100% on the whole Arma situation, but that kind of got nipped in the bud very quick. The club took care of that right away, and they said, you know what, we're gonna go a different direction. Crash. The direction they went is a Tottenham man. You could understand how happy I was when I found this out, right? Matt Wells, a name probably nobody expected, right? And he gets the job for the Rapids, a big job for him. His first managerial job. Crash, I need to know, my homie, what was your first thought? I mean, just bring me back to that day when you found out who this guy is, what was going on. What are you thinking, homie?
Well, I tell you, my first thought was, I need to know what Leo, my resident Hotspur fan and supporter, who loves them more than anything else, he's going to know more about this than anybody I know. So you were, I think, my first message when I saw the news. But I was intrigued. I was, kind of questioning at the same time, comes from a
Absolutely.
great pedigree. He's got a lot of good experience under really solid coaches. And so for me, the way I looked at it is, there's a lot of positives there. And so my initial reaction was hopefully optimistic with that, but also,
Mhm.
he is new and hasn't really had been the lead in that head coach role. So there's a big question mark for sure.
Well, look, bro, don't feel out of place. Myself, like you sent me a message, bro, and I looked at it and I was like, "What the hell? Like, what is this?" And I had to go to X myself, dude, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?" So you kind of broke the news to me, Crash. And Matt Wells, bro, I'm not gonna lie, it's not somebody that I'm like 100% versed with. I know who he is because obviously the Tottenham connection, and I know that he was brought back from for Ange Postecoglou's system. But I wasn't like 1,000%. Oh, this is gonna happen. No, I had to do my homework as well, my homie. I definitely had to do some studying and some massive, as little YouTube videos as there are about him. But there was definitely videos about the systems in which like he coached, right? Big names, like you said, not just Ange Postecoglou, but Scott Parker. And then just he won. He won promotion with Fulham to the Premier League, and then he stayed with Scott Parker, went to Club Brugge, and I'm like I said, I'm not 100% versed in him, so I don't know how he did there, but he's highly touted through the Tottenham ranks. Like bro, right now, not to veer off, but if he was still available, I would take him as an interim at Spurs. So he's rated in the Spurs community, homie. That's just how I feel about that. Um, are you excited looking forward? I mean, just from the little bit that you've heard of him, the little bit that you've seen, there's been a couple of media availabilities, just kind of what you've seen Crash, from the get-go, does that tickle the proverbial pickle, my homie?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, coming in with a question mark, not knowing much about him, and the limited availability we've had in a couple different interviews. He just did one today, which I was able to skim through a
Yeah.
little bit. I just want to get on the Rapids comms team. Let's be able to hear the questions from the Zoom that they have from. I know that they can make that work. I would love to be able to hear those questions more. So just a little feedback there. Yeah, I think what I'm seeing is good. I love, his philosophy, what he's trying to do, seeing the team really being pushed to their physical limits during preseason, is something that I'm really happy to see. I think, the elements of him that I like is that intensity. I love that he's demanding. He's not he seems to be a coach who's not gonna put up with, um, you know, effort that's not 100%. And I think,
Laziness.
some of the things that I struggled with Armis was he he was like that, that coach who, he was I still think Armis was a good coach, but at the end of the day, he was that coach where, you know, "Oh, we get them next time," it was that, "Oh, it's okay, we'll be
Mm,
better the next time,"
yeah.
and the next time never really came, and and I think with Matt Wells, he's gonna demand that effort, and if they put in the effort and they believe in his system, it's either going to work or it's not, but I think if they put in the effort and they're putting, the demand if they're living up to his demands as far as the physicality, then he's gonna have to look to himself, whether it works or not, which I like. It's not gonna be you're not gonna be able to you're either gonna be able to blame the players or you're gonna blame the coach. It's not gonna be one or the other or both, which I think we could probably look at Armis and say it was probably both. He allowed a system of people to be a little more lax and I'm seeing a little more intensity from Coach Wells that I don't know if we're gonna get. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting, the fact that he wants to physically dominate teams. I like to hear that. I wanna see my team physically dominate somebody. Can we do it? That's a bigger question, but I love at least the philosophy of it.
Dude, that's spot on, my homie. I agree with you. And the thing that kind of just stands out obviously the most for me, bro, is I guess it's just the main question. Like, I guess not even the question, but just the fact that the Rapids and the organization have faith in what he can offer. You know what I mean? The thing that like I guess I really want to know, Crash, at the end of the day was before this hire was made, how was it that it happened, bro? Was he contacted? Did he put his name in the hat? You know what I mean? And then they kind of just were like picked the not necessarily like picked a lucky winner, but
Mhm.
looked at their options and said, let's go this route. It's hectic, homie.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be a big change, bro. I think we're kind of already seeing it now. I know I'm not trying to fast forward too much into the pod, but like even to look at situations with Bassett, it could be a fact that like, yeah, that we're probably gonna get a decent amount of money for him,
Mhm.
but it also could be that like he's probably one of the players that's not gonna benefit from having a coach like that.
Yeah,
Because
possibly.
just to kind of caveat everything you said, Crash, he's one of those players that kinda gets away with it because of who he is and where he's at and what he means to the people where he's at.
Mhm.
And, you know, this happens in every facet of life, homie. A new boss comes in, and the first people that get unsettled are the people that have been taking it easiest this whole time, bro.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And those are the first people that you wanna weed out, and that just to go back to Matt Wells, his system right now, bro, in preseason, they're probably running like crazy, bro. They're
Mhm.
probably and I'm not trying to take nothing away from Cole Bassett because he could run, bro. We seen that the season before last. I thought he was probably he ran the most out of any player,
Yeah, I think he did
but
actually.
I also seen a major decrease this past season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know, man. And then you got players like Oliver Larez again. He's gone. Was it a better situation? Probably. Who knows? There's probably underlying factors.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you one thing, homie. I don't think Matt Wells is going to deal with anybody that's not wanting to give 100%. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
whether that's Matt Wells' fault or not, I know it's definitely not because he wasn't here. But Oliver Larraz probably didn't play as many minutes as he wanted to last season. You know what I mean? And he's probably looking for a better opportunity. So
Yeah.
but, I'm digressing. I'm just saying all of these
No.
factors probably have to do with, the underlining thing is Wells is gonna want determination, and like you said, he wants his team to be dominant, and if you're gonna be dominant, homie, it's front foot forward all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For 90 plus minutes, and we know, Crash, when we play like that here at home, we can dominate teams, bro.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think especially at home, like, and I think that's what first and really got me excited about the physicality side of things, because if we can physically
Yeah.
dominate people at home, at elevation, it's gonna be challenging, and we're gonna be a tough team to beat, and then that translates into when we travel, when we're not dealing with that same kinda situation, so, I don't know, I'm excited, I think the key for me and really the key question that I have is this identity shift gonna be enough, and does the
Mm.
roster support it? And those are the things really is
Well,
like, is he getting the players that he really needs to really manage that vision? And so yeah, so I mean, we can kind of jump into it from there. Obviously we kind of you spoke about it a little bit, but Cole's out, not officially, but even Matt Wells was talking about it today in his media availability that it's almost 100%. He's going to
yeah.
Portland.
Yeah. Yeah, Tom Bogart is, I guess, for people that wouldn't know, he's like the Fabrizio Romano of this side of the world. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
When you get those "here he goes" from Fabrizio Romano, it's like the same thing from Bogart. So
Yep.
yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to that. I mean, it is what it is, bro. Um, and go ahead. I mean, go ahead. Take the floor on that one, homie. Go ahead and
Yeah.
take that wherever you
Well,
want to go.
I mean, I think it from a supporter side of things and, a Colorado coach, kids, he's a hero. Like, he's a person everybody loves. He's a homegrown who made it. He's arguably one of the best homegrowns, if not the best homegrown that we've produced, that's played on the team, and we let him go, and we let him go for not a ton of money, and
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that part of it, but, I think the biggest thing is, you know, are we better without him? And that's the big question that I have. I think if it was 2 seasons ago, I would say, "No, we're not." Last season, I think if he played in the position he played 2 seasons ago, we were gonna be we're gonna be at a loss without him, but, I don't know. I'm struggling. I don't know what system that Matt Wells wants to play yet, but it's definitely seems like he's alluding to that was a crowded field there, and, they weren't gonna let, Paxton go because, I mean, he's the DP, he's the kind of the star, and I think that was the issue is
Yeah.
they were competing. They were the same role. It does give me some hope, though, that if they let Cole go, that means that they're probably going to really put Paxton as the 8, and as that player that he's most naturally fitting at. And I'm kinda thinking they saw some of that from during this preseason that Matt wasn't happy with, and he was like, "You know what? We can't be playing Paxton at the 10," and they probably were trying to make some things happen, and I would assume Cole also was like, "You know what? I might be time for me to move on." So I think it might have been a mutually beneficial situation, which is maybe why the dollar amount wasn't as high as we might think it was. But that's kind of just my thought is it was, they talked about it being a crowded competition in the midfield, not knowing the system, how many midfielders he's really going to play on a regular basis. But we did know that Paxton and him were competing for positions in reality if they were playing in their natural spot. So I think we might see that, which I have hope maybe we're going to get a natural 10 out of the deal, which would be kind of cool.
Bro, just to backtrack a little bit, my homie, just let's kind of talk about the players that did leave, just to kind of recap.
Yep.
So the we talk about Oliver Larraz left.
Mhm.
Um,
Oliver's to
Andreas
Vancouver
Kaiser is no
Whitecaps.
longer. Yep, to the Whitecaps. Andreas Maxud, no longer a Rapids player.
Mhm.
Um, Possibly Cole Bassett now. Who else? Kelvin Harris, we let go to KC, Sporting
Yep.
KC, a direct
KC.
rival in that
Yep.
case.
And Rafa
Um,
Santos is now, with St.
and
Louis City.
Santos,
Yep.
I guess another rival, right? Another,
Mhm.
I mean, we face them twice a year, maybe? Is it?
Oh, yeah,
St.
they're a
Louis?
West Coast team, yeah. So, all 4 of our
Rival?
those losses outside of Maxu are against rivals.
Yeah, on the west side, right out there on the
Mhm.
West Conference. Bro, that's maddening, bro. What kind of system, what kind of organization would do that, bro? I mean, like I said earlier, Oliver Larraz probably wanted out because he wanted more game time, and that midfield, honestly, bro, is crowded. Our midfield is crowded. So, yeah, you're probably gonna get more game time. Calvin Harris could fight for his place, and then Cole Bassett, obviously, underlining reasons, but and then you give them to Western Conference opponents, bro. Savages.
Yeah. Well, and I think
Which one
too
of those do you think,
well, I was gonna
which
say
one of those, I mean, go ahead.
oh, sorry, yeah, I was just gonna touch on it. I mean, I think the key of it is Cole was traded, right? And there was a cash for trade that they exchanged
Mhm.
money, but Rafa Santos, Calvin Harris, and Ollie were free. We didn't get any money from them. And, we didn't renew all 3 of their contracts, and so they found the best deal that they could, and unfortunately for us, they ended up on, rivals. I think Ollie is gonna struggle with finding minutes with Vancouver. I mean, they are a top team. Obviously, they, you know, were in CONCACAF Champions Cup final this year. They were in the MLS Cup final this year. You know, they have a solid team up there, and it's going to be a tight group for him to break into. But I think he's seeing I have an opportunity, and so he took it. I think Calvin. I think
Good player.
he's gonna make a starting role. He's gonna get in there, you know, Kansas City's struggling. It's a complete rebuild for them. Could take some time, but I think he's gonna have the benefit of that and likely get a lot of minutes. And then Rafa Santos, man, I f he was the one that I was like, "Why did we let him go?" I mean, I know we've got,
Mhm. I agree.
struggled with him and Sam competing, but I think just eye test alone, he felt, better. Um, I don't think they're both as defensive minded as we'd want our fullbacks to be, but he was at least performing better than I was seeing from Sam, throughout the season. I know he had injuries and things, but that was a tough one to lose. But, who knows what the deals were on the back end, and I know that's a big part of it, so maybe he was hoping for a better contract that they weren't able to give, and that's kinda how it fell apart, so.
Bro, I was bummed to see, the one about Santos. I thought he played exceptionally well, the opportunities that he got, and, yeah, like you said, on a f on a free on a free, homie. Um, we also have some players that did come in though, bro. I mean, we have, let's see, I guess the most recent player that has come in, it would be Sealy, um, and also the young player that came in that we signed last season, Bryce Jameson,
Yep.
who's now, I guess, with the club, right?
Mhm.
Um, and
Yeah.
then, we signed Donovan Phillips, who's the young forward as well that we just
Mhm.
drafted. So we did, I guess, make up a bit in numbers.
Yeah, and we had 2 more
Uh,
there as well. We had, Lucas Harrington from the
right.
Australian League, from A-League, and
Yep.
he we signed him
Yep.
last season. He came over, I think, mid-season for them. So he's with us now. So center back, young singer, promising center back. You asked,
Yep.
Judgmental Jim. He's very high in him. Obviously, he's a A-League stan, and knows a lot, and he's excited for him as a prospect. So he's a tall, solid player, it seems like, and so I'm excited there. I think Bryce is a bit of a not an unknown, but a young player, comes from Orange County, um,
Orange County.
in
Yep.
the USL. He's got some youth national team minutes and is promising there. And then Dante Sealy from CF Montreal, good promising player for them last year. I think was one of their best wingers or best goal scorers in reality on a really struggling team too. Um, I do like a lot of what I'm seeing from him. I think if you watch some of the highlights from the scrimmage against Nashville, um, last week, some of the best, um, some of the best highlights actually came from him, which is really cool.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah.
there was at one point this one highlight that we saw where he was just dribbling through defenders and making moves, and just the ball just didn't seem to leave his feet. Like, he was just able to just keep it going, and I was like, how's that ball not left his feet?" Like, it just was stuck to his feet as he was moving through, so I'm excited to see what he can be capable of. I think we finally have a solid winger, um, that we've been
Mm.
asking for, and then, I think and then it's, Hamzat, Ohedrian, I think is how you say I'm terrible. I have to get the phonetics of that one and hopefully get it better next time, but, he's as of reporting I saw today, um, um, from Brandon, he is, in Denver, or at least traveling into Denver to get all his things finalized and signed, and it sounds like he's gonna be with the team, come next week, so, down in Florida for preseason. So that's a good sign. And from what Matt Wells was talking about today and his media availability, he's been in connection with him consistently. It sounds like it's his
Mhm.
bedtime routine to have conversations with him to keep him up to speed. I guess that's a good sign there that he's high on him and it sounds like he's going to be a everyday kind of like jump in starter. It seems like so. It'd be interesting.
Bro, one thing I will say about the Sealy signing is it came out of nowhere, Crash, and it happened pretty quick too, I think it was just like another one of those quick bombas, you know what I mean? Just it so happened to be, announced, and then, yeah, it was made official, so, again, one of these players, bro, that I can't say that I could wax lyrical about, but in fact, I don't think I've seen any Montreal games. That's where he was at, right? With Montreal Impact coming over here. So yeah, see,
Yeah, Montreal.
but I know that it definitely I kinda wanna say it was 50-50 with the fan base, bro. When I was seeing stuff online,
Mhm.
people were like, "Oh, what is this?" They didn't know who they were, and then obviously you get the YouTube merchants like myself that will see the highlight reels, you know what I mean? And be like, "Oh yeah, this is we're good, we're good."
Mhm.
So, we'll see, man, exactly right. I'm definitely stoked to see what Sealy can offer, and of course, like you kind of touched on, Jameson, um also, too, a young, talented, winger, hopefully, one thing I will say about Matt Wells, Crash, in this past Europa League run for Tottenham, he was instrumental in getting younger kids introduced into the lineup. He was very key in getting some of our academy players into the first team, and, there was even one game against Elfsborg where 2 of our academy graduates came on, I wanna say for their debuts, and one of them scored the goal. Um it was just like a touching thing that I seen on afterwards that Matt Wells had a lot to do with it, you know what I mean? So I know that these young kids, bro, will be licking their chops at the opportunities that they're gonna get, you know what I mean? He definitely will put faith into the young kids. I say young kids, Crash, the majority of our team is our roster has a young vibe to it already, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
hopefully these players do take this time in Florida to buy into the system because that's what it's going to take, bro. Any manager, whatever it is, any system, you want to get the buy-in from the players. And uh, is it the same the January window the same with MLS? I mean, we just have a couple more days to do some moves, and that's it, Crash, and then we're done until the summer window. So if
Yeah.
that's the case, bro, KSE
Well,
need
we
to
still
get
have some
on
time.
and do something.
Yeah, I think, let me take a look. I'll look for the January window, but we do have some time. I think our window goes until when is it? We there's it'll go all the way into the first start of the season, so we still have time for transfers to come in. But I think that's the key of it is, let's see, we get until March. So we have until the end of March to still get some
Ah,
players in.
okay.
But I mean that at that point we're almost a full month into the season. And so anybody we're bringing in is going to still have a lot of time to get engaged and kind of get into the team. So, I think if we're, you know, 4 or 5 games into the season at that point and still bringing somebody in at the last minute,
Yeah.
we're really, realizing we don't have what we need. I think that's the key is the team especially losing somebody like Cole, who is an every game starter somewhere on the field. Um, Losing somebody like that, do we have what we need to really be competitors? With what we've seen from the MLS, with the transfers and the names that are coming in, with the way the rosters are built across the league. Oh man, I'm worried personally. I just I This is a young team with a lot of ambition, and it seems like they're gonna be really pushing themselves, which is great, but do we really have the top end quality to push us over the edge? And that's where I'm concerned. I just think, with just, Hoffa, Navarro, and Paxton Aronson, like 2 solid players, but is that enough when we have the likes of, like, Inter Miami and LAFC and, Vancouver Whitecaps and, like, these teams that have some really solid players? I mean, I think Vancouver's probably the only group there that you can look to outside of, Mueller, and they have some solid players on the team, but, they're not stacked as some of these other teams are. So I don't know. I'm a little worried. I think we're gonna be um, off to a slow start. I hope we're not. But also, KC could be bringing in some names. I would assume that they have to. Matt Wells alluded to it in his last interview that they are bringing more in, but who and what and when? It's a good question.
Yeah, if the Rapids don't do something quick, Crash, it'll definitely show a huge sign of incompetence, homie. One, by letting this Cole Bassett situation happen. Again, I mean, I guess time will tell what really has gone down. Did we fumble something like we did with the Georgia situation? Did something happen? But regardless of that, Crash, moving forward from now on, bro. If they don't do something quick, homie, it's gonna show a huge sign of incompetence going forward. And especially like you said, homie, the last thing you want to do is go let the season start, let that window creep towards the end, and then you really are starting to show your hand that you're bluffing or don't have anything to play with. At that point, you're screwed, bro, because you nailed it right on the head, homie. You're bang on, bro. The quality around us is not staying stagnant, homie, and it's not getting worse. It's elevated.
Mhm.
And it's not just being elevated by a little bit, homie. Big names are coming across the pond now to play over here. You know what I mean? Bigger names are being drawn to this market. And, you know, you gotta get in where you fit in, Crash. You know what I mean? And you
Mhm.
don't want to get left behind, bro. Um, because a couple of bad seasons, bro, will put you way behind. And let's be real, the Rapids aren't a team that are, we have prestige. No, we play catch up a lot, bro. You know what I mean? And if we're starting off already crippled, bro, imagine how we're gonna be, like you said, come 4 or 5 games into the season, bro. So I I I think we'll make a couple more signings, get a bit more depth for Matt Wells, his coaching staff. I think I read somewhere 30 days from today, January 28th today, 30 days, I think we're back home for our first
We
game.
are, yeah, against Portland. So Cole's gonna have his first Colorado home game against Colorado here on February 28th. So it could be an interesting welcome home present for us.
Oh, 30 days rolls around quick, Crash.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got they've got a couple of more preseason scrimmages that are going to be happening. I think there's one tomorrow, maybe, which will be interesting to see what highlights we get from that. Hopefully, we get a better performance than we did against Nashville. I think you kind of look at that one didn't give me a whole lot of hope, to be honest. We scored one that was Cole that was it had a nice assist to Yappy, but I will say Yappy had an amazing finish. If anybody was able to catch the highlights of that, that was a striker's finish, and I was really proud to see that one. Some good positive flashes from Dante Seeley, and it definitely could tell some of the energy was higher, but that was in the first half. And even Matt Wells alluded to today in his media availability, the second half, there was no highlights from the second half. And the you didn't see anything from Hoffa or Paxton. You would think the highlights were going to come from your DPs in any of this stuff, and there was not any footage of them. I'm concerned. Maybe they're just not figuring his system out. Maybe they're not gelling. Maybe it's just they're tired. I don't know, right? Maybe he's pushing them harder than the rest because of who they are. So we'll see. But the second half was definitely was rough, and you could tell there was a lot of mistakes that were those goals that kind of happened in the second half were off of mistakes. So you can't. It's preseason scrimmage. It is what it is. But I would at least want to see some better play that they could highlight. And so hopefully we have a much better opportunity on this next one, and and start to see these guys really fall into a good rhythm. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yo, Crash, something that I've been meaning to ask you, bro, I guess to talk about, um, the schedule come out and we play against Inter here at home,
Mhm.
and I guess I say here at home, it's not gonna be at home. My point where I'm getting at is, how do you feel about the game being moved to Empowered Field, bro?
Um, one, I expected that. I had kind of based on what I had heard you know, once I knew Miami was coming to town, I kind of imagined they would put it at Mile High. Um, I was told that they put it at Mile High before they knew the schedule, and there was a 30th anniversary situation, and that's what was expected. So I don't quite believe that necessarily, but I think, Inter Messi, draws a big crowd no matter who you are, and anybody who bought tickets, outside of their season tickets, if you were in the supporters, they were very expensive. And I'm talking, drastically more. So, um
Dude.
I think it was what everybody wants to do, and they wanna capitalize on the monetary opportunity that they have in front of them for somebody like Messi, which I get. But the other side of it, they would have packed dicks just like we packed, LAC when Sun came, right? So we'll see. It'll be interesting because there's going to be a big, um, comparison from the Summit doing their opener at Mile High versus, Rapids versus Messi at Mile High, and who draws a bigger crowd. I will be interested to see, the difference between that.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna keep it real, bro. They're not their ratings are not gonna go against the Rapids. Their ratings are going against Messi. Look, I as a fan, bro, as a fan, I would have loved to have stood in the South Bank and just given it to Messi the whole game. You know what I mean? Just when he goes to take a corner kick or that, well, I don't even know if he's on set piece duty there, but
Yeah, yeah.
eh, giving it to him, bro. You know what I mean? And now, like, do they move it to Mile High, and it's just like, dude, I think they just watered that fixture down so much. And then to kinda go back to what you were saying, I doubt I just like you, I highly doubt they were gonna have this game at Empowered Field if we're talking about St. Louis, SC versus the Rapids. Yeah, we're gonna move that game to Empowered Field? I doubt it, bro. That game got moved for a reason,
Yeah.
and that's fair play, whatever, that's fair, that's cool. I totally like you said, I get the monetary
Yeah, for sure.
aspect, but that stadium is gonna be full of pink jerseys. Like I said, and it's not even gonna be like a fun time for the Rapids fan. I think it's gonna be a watered down experience. And then to top it off, bro, I wanna take my family is was excited. I'm priced out, Crash. I can't
Yeah.
take more people than the ones that I already have season ticket for, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for
And
sure.
that was like the sad part about it, bro. It's like, come on, man.
Mhm.
That that has always been one of my biggest, like, fair play claps that I do to the Rapids every time is I'm able to take my family, if somebody apart from my immediate family wants to go with me, it's very easy for me to hit up
Yeah.
Eddie and be like, "Hey, Eddie, I need your help with this." It still is, don't get me wrong, he could definitely probably help me out with the rap with but I'm priced out, Crash, and I'm not the only one. There's gonna be tons of people that are not gonna be able to go to that game because it's priced out, bro. And that's my
Absolutely.
only issue with it. I guess one of my issues.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that was my biggest thing too is, like, where our seats are and, we've got a every seat at Dick's is good, right? So it's a challenging, spot to be in as a season ticket holder because you wanna get more to bring the rest of your family 'cause I only have 2 and I wanted to bring everybody 'cause it'll be a fun time and my kids who doesn't love Messi? And for me, I want to be able to see him, at least one time play before he retires, which I think
Absolutely.
everybody should have that opportunity to see the GOAT, right? Um, but the other side of it, I agree, man. It's like it was a stretch to be able to get tickets close to us were just ridiculous. And so either you're gonna have to spread your family completely across the board in different seats, or you're gonna, kind of bite the bullet and definitely was a challenge for sure. I wish it would have been a little less of a money grab on that side of it. It it doesn't cost that much to get to rent that stadium and to, for the return on it. So it was a uh, little shocking at the rate that they were all at, unfortunately.
They better be fixing some pixels on that big screen that they have at Dick's with all that money they're gonna be raking in, my homie. Because
Or
if not,
maybe, yeah.
it's all in vain, bro.
I
It's
agree.
all
I
in
think
vain,
that's
homie, if they don't do
I
something like that, bro.
and that's the thing I hope to see. You know, if we as supporters are shelling out, hundreds of dollars to see one game, and that includes
One
Messi
game crash.
as a season as
Yeah.
supporters and season ticket holders. Um, I hope that we see that return back into the team somewhere. Historically, we know what we've seen, and it's never quite been there. So, yeah, I'm with you, man. I wish it was a little. I wish they would have done a little bit more, and I'm happy that they were able to get all that C38 supporters group stuff sorted out, because that was a little dicey there for a minute there from what I saw as well. So,
Yeah, and just to wrap that part up, bro, this game is a free hit money-wise for the Rapids. This is a free hit. Go grab your money and, like, then you have, like, the investment back into the club with that money is a free hit. Like, you just literally tripled or quadrupled the price of a normal ticket for one game. Like, that's a free hit on whatever freaking revenue you're making back,
mhm,
bro.
yeah,
Oh, man.
all for a lotto ticket. The hope that Messi even plays.
Homie, you ain't lying, bro. You ain't lying, homie. Athletes do not like playing up here, bro. They don't like playing it out here. Yeah, man. Crash, what else did you wanna touch on while we were here, my homie?
Yeah, man. I think at the last thing, just really big picture stuff is, how do we feel this season's gonna go? This is the first one. This is
Mm,
numero uno for the Confluence. Here's our predictions for the season based on the limited information we have. Are we optimistic? Are we pessimistic? Can Wells right the ship? What do we think?
mm. We're just gonna shoot from the hip, my homies. On episode 1, we're shooting for the hip with just blind shots. We're just gonna go for it. I like it, homie. Look, just based off of a new system, a new environment for both Matt Wells, some of these players, a new system for most of these for all of these players. It's gonna be a learning curve, bro. We're gonna have to watch a lot of boring football this season. Boring, and I say boring because Matt Wells is gonna focus on the fundamentals. You know what I mean, to get everything clicking, to play attacking football, to play high pressing, you know what I mean? We have to go back to the fundamentals and just play
Mhm.
football. And a lot of times, bro, it translates to boring watches. Might be tough for us to pick up a waveform. Who knows, man? A lot of variables come into play, but I don't want to set the bar too high, Crash. I'm gonna say we squeak into the playoffs at least, my homie. You know what I mean? That's not a tough ask for a Rapids team. I think we could definitely squeak into the playoffs. But Crash, it also depends what happens from now until the end of the window. Honestly, bro,
Yeah.
if we get rid of more players, or if we get more players in, like, that can help the cause, or hurt some outgoings that hurt. But let's just say everything stays the same how it is, Crash. Let's X Cole Bassett out of the picture because it looks like that's gonna happen.
Mhm.
Then I think we do have a playoff team still, Crash. I think we do, bro. Um, It's just we have to weather out the storm. And this is one thing that I'm gonna say, and I'm not gonna say it because I'm a Tottenham guy and it's a Tottenham coach. I would have said this had it been Arteta's assistant coach. We need to buy into the philosophy, whoever it is. Fans need to know it's gonna take time, and we can't be asking for this manager out right away. The first sign of defeat, people are gonna be throwing the towel in. And I get it. I get it. We live in a microwavable society, Crash, where everybody wants everything done right now, right? When we can have things done right now. But the best things in life are worth waiting for, my homies. And if we could just weather out some storms that are definitely gonna come, we're gonna lose games. We're gonna lose games. But yeah, I think we're on to the right I think we're on to the right path, homie.
Yeah. Well, I love that optimism. Um, and I do love the sentiment about giving Wells time, because I 100% agree to that. I think a new coach, new system, new players for him, new players for the team. There's a lot there that takes time for them to gel and understand what they're trying to get from each other. Um, and that's the last thing that I also want to see is, people start saying, Wells, I don't think the Wells is gonna be the problem. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if we're seeing issues with Wells and his system, we've been seeing the same issues with every coach for the past 6 years
Mm, great
with
shout.
whatever
Yeah.
system that they have, and the only thing that you can point to there is that front office. And, it was funny because I know, I think I was listening to Holding the High Line earlier, and they were talking about, the Moneyball, and actually, I was in my hotel room, and I clicked on the TV, and what was on Moneyball? And, and I heard the line firsthand was, like, the firing of Cole Bassett is, this is either the that's either the or not firing, it's the trading of Cole Bassett would be, um it's either gonna go well or it's gonna go poorly, but you're either gonna get fired or you're gonna get rehired. This is there's a pass fail situation. It's either gonna work or it's not, and I think that this is the front office saying that this is their big swing, we're gonna make this work, and this is the team that we have. I don't think it's gonna be Wells that's the problem. I think it's gonna be how that roster is constructed and what's given to him to work with. And if that fails, it's gonna be a failure of the front office, and I'm hoping to see some changes there because I agree. I think I like what I'm seeing from Matt Wells. I think he has a good opportunity. I think the players, if they buy in, if the supporters buy in, give him time, could see some real success. But I think the front office and ownership needs to buy in to make sure he's got the players to do that
Mhm.
vision. And I think we haven't historically done that. So that's where my pessimism comes in, and where I'm skeptical, is I don't quite think that we're gonna be a playoff team with the roster I'm currently seeing in front of us, unless I see changes, unless I'm seeing Paxton and Hoffa really click, and I'm seeing Sealy fit into this, and I'm seeing, and Hamzat is that destroyer in the midfield that we needed. Like there's, our defensive back line has never been solid. Both Cannon and Vines did not have that great a season last year, right? And, we didn't see a lot of production from really any of our fullbacks outside of Santos at the end there, right? And so we're gonna need people to score goals, and it can't just be Hoffa, Yappy, and one of our midfielders, and because Paxton had one. Um, so again, we'll see. It's a big question mark, but I'm going into it hopeful and optimistic, but also realistic at the same time. So we'll see. We'll see if this roster can gel and get some good solid final pieces, and hopefully it's enough.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, and kinda just to retrace my steps, bro, I think if we could kinda just go back to the fundamentals and I can include making the Dick, a fortress, you know what I mean? Just using our home stadium as our place to dominate these teams that wanna come in, you know what I mean? If we could take care of business at home, that's a start. That's definitely a good start. One other thing that I do want to say, Crash, real quick, bro, and this is to whoever that may be listening. I know Matt Wells comes with the Spursy tag, and I want to encourage people to not pay attention to the fact that he comes from a place where, yeah, the brand w Tottenham is branded as a Spursy. I seen stuff right away like, "Oh, the Rapids are gonna get the Spursy, vibes that we don't need," and it's nothing like that, you know what I mean? Like, he's not coming here to turn the Rapids into the next Tottenham Hotspur. Matt Wells, his philosophy isn't Tottenham Hotspur, you know what I mean? He's not a mole, you know what I mean? He's not here to destroy things, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Him, I wanna believe him equally with KSE, both seen an opportunity, a situation that they probably wanna work together and get the best results out, right? And
mhm.
none of that has anything to do with Tottenham Hotspur, you know what I mean? That all has to do with the Colorado Rapids. So I encourage anybody who has any doubts about it, this man is here to do his job as a Colorado Rapids manager or head coach, whatever it is. I mean, I call them managers, but it's probably head coach. He's not here to bring any type of DNA. No, he's here to bring his mentality, his game style, his game plan, and his way of playing football. And again, it's going to take time, Crash. We're going to need to weather some storms. We're going to go through ups and downs, but you go through that shit with any manager, Crash, with any
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think the the one thing that I was thinking, as we were kind of wrapping up there, and is one of the things that we did terribly last year. And when you were kind of talking about we need to make this a fortress, and I agree, and I think that's Matt Wells has been saying that we need to dominate people here. The other thing that we struggled with last year was playing down to competition. Like we weren't a bad team. We just played terribly against teams that were terrible, you know? And so I think, there's a mentality shift that I'm hoping that we see, and that's gonna take time, I think, as well. So, I'm hoping that we see that fight and that grit and that, that kind of never give up kind of attitude that it seems like Wells is really trying to instill and kinda almost force the players to adopt. Because we needed that, or because we saw that time and time again where we're playing just terribly against terrible teams, like, what's happening? So hopefully that changes. Hopefully that philosophy, that mentality, that, culture, gets adjusted because, if we can do that, then we're a playoff team. Then we're easily in there. We're in the mix. We're fighting. We can make this place a fortress, and then when we go on the road, we are able to snag a couple points here and there, and then great, right? We're in the playoffs. But we can't. Man, it's gonna be a struggle. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, and part of that, Crash, and part of trying to build some sort of fortress and some sort of environment at home, us fans, we're gonna have to step up as well too. Not like we don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying we need to continue to show up in the South Bank and throughout the stadium and just be loud and make noise for our team, my homie. And kind of just to bring this whole episode full circle, homie, and to bring about the fans, like, yeah, it's dope to be able to provide a platform like this to give voice to fans. You know what I mean? To be able to have a space like this where we're gonna be able to chat it up, my homie. All pitties, all season long. First episode in the books, my homie.
Yeah.
Think we went over some expectations, what we think. You know what I mean? I definitely wanted to touch bases and see, just go over the Matt Wells whole signing and yeah, bro, the future definitely can be bright, man. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Last fun thing. This is a fun thing. We got a little bit of a leak from Footy Headlines, I think yesterday or the past couple days,
Ooh, good
with
shout.
the
Yeah.
black kit leak. And the leak that is out there, from my understanding, is an interpretation, so it's not exact by any means, but it's just what they feel it's going to look like, which they're usually pretty close. You have any initial thoughts? Have you seen it? What are you thinking?
Yeah, so a black kit, right? Does it have colored stripes? And the colored stripes are different colors each stripe, I think I saw, right?
Yeah,
They have
so
like
it was, what I remember seeing, it was the burgundy stripes on the shoulder, the collar, and then the sleeves or the trim at the bottom was like the multicolors, which I think was I think what I could see from it was like the different colors of the different kits, kind of the over the years. So like, white, green, red, burgundy, those kinds of things. So it was almost like a rainbow, it seemed like, but it wasn't. It looked like our old colors. Um, and then I think some blue accents throughout it. So it was interesting. It wasn't definitely my favorite. Just from that theory. I'm hoping that if it's similar, it's a little more texturized or a little like, some sort of, kind of built-in pattern into the black that kind of breaks it up a little bit. I do like black kits. I also think that black kits are meant to be a third alternate kit, not your main kit. So I'm a little like it should just be burgundy. That's
mm,
the a home kit should be
bro.
burgundy for me, but I'll wait to reserve judgment until I see the kit personally. But I don't hate black kits at the same time.
Yeah, Crash, I know it's a bit late. You're out there on the East Coast, my homie. Real quick, because we're talking about the black kit and just the different. What about this whole idea that they pitched about a rebranding? Because to be a little bit transparent, Crash, you and I wanted to start this a bit earlier in the but we kinda were like you kinda said, "Let's hold off and see what happens with if they do any type of rebranding or anything like that,"
Yeah.
right? Um, thoughts, bro? What do you think is, the club put out and I think this is where they go wrong, bro. You don't open Pandora's box and ask your fans what they think, homie. Thoughts on that, Crash, real quick, bro?
Well, I made my voice known. I filled out the survey. Uh, it would be a very dumb idea to change the name, change is really I could see updating a few things, making things a little more here or there, but like a full rebrand of the club is not something I would want. And so I'm not sure what it would be, what they're trying to do, but no, not happening.
Yeah, dude, I thought, wow, hectic. And then, like I said, to ask the fans, bro, you're really kinda, like, just putting it out there that, like, you have no direction. The more and more I think about it, what the hell were they thinking? Like, you have no direction, no
Well,
or
I'm
ma
happy that they
is it
asked.
that much that you really wanna know what your fans think? I don't know.
Well, and I think the bit that I felt a little tone deaf on, and I was a little frustrated is, I mean, I've got a hat. This is stuff I coach in, but like I've got kits and I've got shirts and I've got like all the stuff and all the things, and then you rebranded to something that's like, Colorado Soccer Club or something, right? Like, what? Like, I wouldn't want to buy any of that stuff. Like, I think for me, the biggest thing is that, we're Rapids 96. We're an OG MLS club. We've been the Rapids since the beginning. Why it's unique. Like the crest and the badge, like it's a great crest. It makes sense. It's unique, but it also has some of that, kind of that world soccer badge feel to it, but it's unique, got a uniqueness to MLS. I would hate to see it really change dramatically or really any at all. I really enjoy it. Only thing I wish is we had more stars at the top. That's about the only thing that I really concerned. So
Those are
I
quite
wouldn't be
common.
concerned with the rebrand. I'd be worried about rebranding to get those stars at the top. I think that would be more impactful than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, bro, fair play, man. Well, I think that's episode 1 just about done, my homie. Unless you had anything else to add, bro.
Nope, that's
Nah,
it for
well,
me.
that's yeah. So like I said at the beginning, my homies, our socials, you can find us. We're on X, Instagram, uh, and then also to Apple and Spotify.
Yep.
Apple Listen and Spotify. Yeah.
Yeah, and
We're gonna get the hang of it, homie. We'll get there. We're
yeah,
partners
we'll
with each
get
other.
there. We'll get there. Yeah, for sure. And then we'll post the audio on the YouTube channel as well. Wherever we'll also link all the information in the show notes for each area, and we'll post everything officially on all our social channels. Whether it's from my at Daddy Shuttle channel on X or any of those other ones, we'll start pushing things out. So like us, follow us, subscribe, do all the fun things, give us 5 stars and all the ratings that you can just to help push us in the algorithm. But you'll be able to find us on any of those podcast platforms, and come and support us whatever you can. Right now, we're not doing this for money. We're not doing this for fame. We're just doing this because we love the Rapids and we enjoy having the conversation with you guys, and look forward to it. So hit us up, let us know, and we're excited for what's going to come next. We're talking, maybe we can do some away watch alongs in the future. We can do some live streams where we can interact. Maybe we can do some pod emergency streams if we get some news or something coming up. And I would imagine we'll have Leo doing his streams on at the games and kind of fan capture that he's done in the past, which I always enjoyed as a fan of your content as well. So look for all that stuff, across the different channels, and we're excited to kick this one off.
Let's go, baby. Up the pits. We'll see you guys on the next one.